not work like you're,
Yeah,
you know, you're,
course,
like
yeah,
you own the
like,
building.
yeah,
For
exactly.
example,
Like you got
there are
shares and
so
yeah.
many people who have gotten to my position and even higher who haven't done a tenth of the work that I've done.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have to be like this, but this is the space that we find ourselves in. So yes, I experienced some privilege, but of course, there's also the plight, the barriers that I was overcoming, you know,
Yeah.
preemptively almost.
And like, what was when you first became a teacher? What was the surprises? Was there anything surprising that you kind of noticed?
I was surprised at the racism that I
Yeah.
experienced. That's what I was surprised by. I was surprised by the microaggressions. Like, I remember one day I wore hoops to work and they were like, "You look unprofessional." I was like, "Whoa. Whoa, okay." Then there was another day where I was wearing a dress, and every day up until that point, I'd always worn tights.
Yeah.
I'd always worn tights. And I don't know why, I just thought to myself, you know, I think it was hot. So I said,
Yeah.
let me not wear tights. And by the way, my white counterparts are wearing skirts that are this long. So I'm thinking that, you know, the dress code is, you know, quite liberal. So I don't wear tights that day. The dress hits my knee, by the way.
Yeah.
I have a meeting. So sorry, Joy. You look inappropriate. I said, I went to the toilet, took a picture for my sisters. I put it in the group chat. I said, is this a bad dress? What is going on here? So many stories that I can tell you of just even I'm standing with the students where I think they're looking for a lesson. And the deputy head says everybody needs to disperse.
Yeah.
What?
Is
Who,
it
me?
home early?
What are you is it me?
Yeah.
Oh, you look like a sick former or whatever it is. I'm a teacher I'm a teacher at your school. Is it that you don't recognize that? Do I however way you tell the reason why you felt that you could tell me to disperse, it never ends well.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was surprised by the level of racism that I faced personally, despite the position of power I found myself in.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like I've had similar experiences like that. Once I remember once I was working in a school delivering a workshop and I hurt my foot previously, so I was wearing like sliders.
Okay.
You know, like because my foot was a bit swollen, you know. So anyway, so I'm just working like throughout the day, not knowing that like there's been various complaints from the teachers to other teachers about my inappropriate footwear. You know, there's been a meeting, like all these things happening. I have no idea what's happening, and what actually like made me laugh is then they kind of sent the black teacher to come speak to me about it. So there was a whole meeting about it, but then they sent the guy who was kind of cool with, he was kind of similar my age group to me. He was like really good with the kids and things like that, and he kind of pulled me aside and was like, yeah, you know, you can't wear these. And I was like, so where does it say that you can't wear them? And he said, well, it doesn't really say that, but you know, like they like they like us to be like to present a certain way for the students and things like that as well. And at the time I was thinking, you haven't even asked me why I'm actually wearing them, you know. And then when I explained it, it was like, oh cool, don't worry about it. But I was thinking like, you've led with thinking that almost like judging me,
Of course.
like based on my footwear,
Of course.
you know. And that was one thing that because I used to work in various different schools, and always used to just feel the judgment almost straight away, you know. But I remember early on in my career, dressing a certain way to kind of fit in.
Okay.
So I wouldn't dress almost how I would normally dress on the day to day.
Sure.
So I'd wear probably more of a straighter trousers, maybe a shirt. It almost just to look like almost like what the term is, but yeah, just somebody who just really just fits in and kind of blends in. But that wouldn't be what I'd wear on a normal day. So on a normal day, I might wear a tracksuit, I might wear a t-shirt, I might wear trainers, I might wear a cap, and all those things. And then it's almost like a camouflage that I would now put on to work in those systems because of what I saw, you know. And that for me has always been a barrier. I think as well in a lot of schools sometimes is even like some of the uniforms that the teachers wear. You know, that whole suit, tie, done up. You know, you're. It's like a lazy way of gaining authority. You know, it's a lazy way of putting yourself
really
in a position of power.
That's really interesting.
You know, it's like because we all have certain relationships with people with suits and ties. Yeah. You're a teacher. You know, you're not like you're not I don't know, you're not the custodian of the establishment, you're not a guardian, you know, you're just here to teach, you're here to educate, you're here to help, you're here to support. So if that's not what you would normally wear, you know, why are you now almost forcing that, you know, and it's that what I said for me, it's like, it's this lazy kind of discipline. You know, it's like it's a way of putting the barriers, and that's where I thought a lot of schools were going wrong is in the amount of barriers that they put between them and the students.
You're right, absolutely.
You know, because they can't now connect with you now because you're in a suit and tie. One barrier, Mr. Johnson. 2 barriers. You won't share nothing personal. Another barrier. It's just barriers upon barriers upon barriers when like it's not needed.
It's not. Absolutely not. I know that my students, I used to tell them stories about my life all the time. I think I did a documentary on the BBC a few years back, and my best friend came back to me, and it was in my classroom. It was about the work I was doing in schools, and she came to me and she said, who I saw on the documentary is who I've been friends with my whole life. And it was the greatest compliment because I didn't change.
Yeah.
My students, when I see them now, I was in Brixton the other day driving and I saw one of my old students and I called her name from the car.
Yeah.
And she knows who, it's not straight back tied. No. And that's not to say I was unprofessional. But I was nurturing. I'm part of the village that are raising these children. I can't afford to be distant. You know, I'm spending more time with them than their own parents. I'm seeing them more frequently. What good does it do for them if I am so distant from them and what they really feel? And if I truly want to make this subject their subject and accessible, how can I remain inaccessible? I think that's bad practice, really.
Yeah.
It's bad teaching practice. I have to give something to get something. And that's not to say I tell you, I'm having issues with my husband at the moment. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if I have a funny anecdote, for example, or if something's happening, it's just, you know, you just as you would in the kind of like teaching environment, a teaching learning environment. You know, sometimes you have it like as we're speaking now, you've had an anecdote that's come into your mind. You don't suppress the anecdote. It's not, no, it's a teacher. You share, and I get to know a bit about you, and then we move on to something else. And I think that's what teaching environments should be like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because even like I see a lot, for example, like kids will say to like a teacher, "Have you got any kids?" And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I can't tell you that. I can't."
Yeah.
And it's like, why can't you?
Yeah.
You know, like you don't have to give their full medical history. You know,